welcome. If you're a first-time viewer, this is first of a series of clips on a motorcycle vlog of a ride around Goulburn. For those who are return viewers who know my videos, you'll be familiar with the format now. But for the new viewers, let me just explain. The motorcycle I have is a Kawasaki Vulcan Voyager. The equipment I use is a GoPro camera which is attached to the windscreen of the bike. I just turn on the camera, let it do its recording, and I record this audio afterwards. I don't have a very sophisticated studio or setup or editing equipment like that. I just use the voice recorder and microphone on my computer to record some commentary. I'm not able to record it as I am riding because I don't have a microphone in my helmet, and the microphone in the camera picks up a lot of engine noise, which I don't think would be all that interesting. So anyway, this is the first of a couple of clips of a ride around Goulburn. For those who are familiar with my clips from earlier videos, you will know that I've been north, south, east and west of Goulburn. So this time I thought I would just ride around Goulburn and show you a little bit about the city where I live. So in this first section here, I'm on a street called Deccan Street, which runs along the front of Victoria Park, which is a main park in Goulburn. And from there I'll be heading down towards Marsden Weir, past Wallandilly Public School and down towards Marsden Weir, which is where the Wallandilly River flows over a weir. But we'll get to that a little bit later on. At the moment we're at the intersection of Deccan Street and Fitzroy Street in the roundabout just outside of Goulburn High School. Now the aim of these videos is to show you what it is I'm seeing while I'm riding, and hopefully you get the same picture that I do, and so you get to see some of the scenery that I see. And I talk about things that are either related to the scenery or other things that interest me that aren't necessarily related to motorcycling, but just the things that interest me, and hopefully you the viewers are interested. If you're not, then of course just turn the sound down and enjoy the scenery. So as I said, we're going past Wallandilly Public School now, which is one of the newer schools in Goulburn. It was to celebrate its 50th anniversary this year. When I say it's new, it's 50 years old, but due to the COVID situation, it's not been the case. So this road here is called Fitzroy Street, and just down here somewhere it becomes the Crookwell Road. Crookwell is spelled C-R-O-O-K-W-E-L-L, Crookwell, but it comes out Crookwell for most people. It's a small village or a town of about 3,500–4,000 people, just west, about 36 kilometres west of Goulburn. And you've seen it if you've watched some of my other videos. Speaking of my videos, you're welcome to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you wish. On there you'll find all sorts of videos, running videos, motorcycling videos, children's stories, videos about Goulburn, videos about Launceston in Tasmania, and other things that I'm interested in. There's no commercial operation there. I don't make any money out of it. I don't have any sponsors or anything like that. I just do it because I'm interested in these things, and I do it for entertainment and fun. So we're crossing the Wallandilly River on the Crookwell Road bridge at the moment. So you may have come across this video via Facebook, but if you follow the links there, you can go to my YouTube channel and find the other things that I've been talking about. As you can see, I'm going to turn right here, and I'm going to turn onto a road called Mary's Mount Road. Now, for those who've watched other videos of mine, especially the running ones, you'll know that I run this up and down this road in both directions, from south to north and north to south several times. And so some of the roads we're going to go on today are roads that I run on frequently, or footpaths along the edge of the roads where I run frequently. I just wanted to ride around them this time rather than run on them. This area out here, Mary's Mount, is a place of many new housing estates. I'll talk about those in a moment, but Goulburn is a city. It's southwest of Sydney, about 200 kilometres southwest of Sydney, and about 100 kilometres northeast of Canberra. It's known by many names. One name is it's known as the Lilac City because every year on the long weekend in October, which has just gone, we have our Lilac City Festival, which is like the Spring Harvest Festival or something that lots of towns have at the same time. For the last couple of years it hasn't been held because of the COVID situation, but it's a big event normally in the calendar, in the social calendar here. It's also known as the City of Roses because every year in March they have a Rose Festival in Victoria Park, which is across the road from where I live. There is a rose garden and there is a rose show each year in March, and the best rose and the most colourful rose, and there are prizes handed out for people who grow roses. Another thing it's often known as facetiously by some people is the City of Roundabouts because, as you'll see on this road here, which is about 2 kilometres long, there are 6 or 7 roundabouts, and many intersections in Goulburn have roundabouts. Obviously they make good sense in terms of controlling the traffic and are much better than traffic lights and much less expensive overall, because once you build it you just have to leave it there, you don't have to do anything with it. Even if you plant some bushes there, you've only got to trim them once in a while, whereas with traffic lights you've got to put cabling in, and you've got to clean the lights every now and again, lenses every now and again, and replace the lights when they blow out and all that sort of stuff. So a roundabout is much more sensible way of doing it. This road, where, as I said, that we're going on is called Mary's Mount Road, and as I said, I've run it many times, and I've talked about in the past when I've been running it, running up the hill from the southern end to the northern end, which is the direction we're going in at the moment, and this is the hill that we're running up. So I'd like you to hopefully get an appreciation of how steep this hill is, or how steep it might feel to someone trying to run up it. Not very long, but it just is steep. The road itself in its full length is only about 2 kilometres. I mentioned the estates a moment ago. So there are 5 or 6 housing estates along here where rural properties have been subdivided. The people that own the land have, as they've got older, I guess, sold off some of the land thinking they don't need it for agricultural purposes any longer, and for financial reasons or whatever, they've sold the land off and it's been turned into housing estates. And there are a number of housing estates along this road. Over recent times, playground has been opened here. There's a shopping centre that is in the process of being built, but very, very slowly, and there's a cafe and a preschool. There is no school in this area, and the shopping centre, as I said, is not opened yet. It's meant to contain a small supermarket at some point, and hairdressers and a few specialty shops like that. But you would appreciate that if there are none of those facilities here at the moment, that all the people who live in this area have to go into town, which is only a matter of 3 or 4 kilometres, but if you can imagine all these houses in this area and the people living in them going into town, that's a lot of traffic going into town past, and the main route is past the Wallandilly Public School and Goulburn High. That creates a lot of potential traffic congestion, but also puts a lot of pressure on the road and means a lot of money needs to be spent on road maintenance and repairs. So it is hopeful that the supermarket will open here fairly shortly. Now, at the intersection here, we are at Middle Arm Road and Mary's Mount Road, and directly in front of you is the Catholic Cemetery, St Patrick's Cemetery. The roadworks going on here, and I couldn't quite work out where I was supposed to go for a moment. The blue car there was a bit confused when it saw me coming in their direction, but I figured it out. The St Patrick's Cemetery is one of 4 cemeteries in Goulburn. There's this one, there's the Old Goulburn Cemetery, there's the New Goulburn Cemetery, and there's a Jewish cemetery as well. Mostly residential on the left-hand side there of this Middle Arm Road. And on the right-hand side is the Mulwarry High School, farm and wetlands. This intersection coming up, which there's another roundabout, I'm going to make a left turn and go into the suburb called Bradfordville. This is mostly a residential area. This is Queen Street. Further out in Bradfordville, there's a little light industry, fabrication and things like that. There's also a medical practice. The one thing that this area has that the Mary's Mount estates don't have is it has its own shopping centre with a hairdressers and a small supermarket, and across the road from that is a garage where you can get petrol, and also I think they do motor vehicle repairs, and there's a school out here at Bradfordville as well. So in many respects it's a self-contained area, but of course if you were doing major shopping, like doing your weekly grocery shopping, you wouldn't go to the supermarket here because it doesn't have the range of things that you'd find in a normal supermarket, and I think the prices would be much higher. But if you were out of milk or bread and some of those things, I guess the supermarket's more like a convenience store, but it is markets itself as a supermarket. All of these roads along here and within Goulburn are suburban roads that are maintained by the Goulburn Waiwari Council. And for the most part they're in pretty good condition. You can see this section here, the shoulder is quite wide because it also doubles as a cycleway. Coming up to Daly Street here and turning right into Daly Street and then onto right again onto Terralga Road. One thing I would mention at this point about this bike, the bike I have is, as I said, is a Kawasaki Voyager 1700. It's a fairly big cruiser style bike. When I say big, it's about 400 kilos when it's fully laden, full of fuel. And so it's not really the bike you'd buy for just commuting and driving around the town like this. When I bought it, I was working in Queanbeyan, which is about another 100 kilometres away, and I used to use it for my daily commute as well as my weekend riding activities. It's a great bike for the open road. Where it's not so good is in town like this, where you stop, start all the time at roundabouts and give way signs and all that sort of stuff. Not because it's a difficult bike, but because it's a heavy bike, and as any motorcyclist will know, when you're riding, you don't notice the mass of the bike. You're aware that it exists, but it's not a factor in controlling or managing the bike. But when you're coming to a stop, or you're slowing down, or you're working the gear so that you can come to a rolling stop rather than a dead stop, you can be conscious of the weight of the bike, and so stop, start, turn intersections and waiting for cars coming in the opposite direction and so on can be it takes a bit of the pleasure out of riding. This is a bike that's definitely meant for the open road. Well, this road here is called Terralga Road because if you were to follow it in the opposite direction, you'd come to the village of Terralga, which is about 42 kilometres away, and this takes you back towards Goulburn and the main part of Goulburn. Sweeping around this bend here, and we're going to go across now the Kenmore Bridge. On the left and right hand sides are the Tully Park Golf Course, one of two golf courses in Goulburn. This area on the left-hand side is mostly residential, but there's a motor vehicle repair place here and a little bit of light residential, and a block or two over is the Goulburn Correctional Facility, better known as the Goulburn Jail. This part of Goulburn is known as Old Goulburn because it was the earliest part of Goulburn that was settled, and then people moved into the parts of Goulburn to the north, to the east and the south and the west, which are the established suburbs. You come around this bend here and then make a right-hand turn a little bit ahead here, and directly in front of us as we make that right-hand turn is the Gordon Hotel. Now, I want you to keep in mind the distance from there to the set of traffic lights that we're coming up to at the intersection of Union Street, as this is here now, and the Sydney Road. And the reason I want you to do that is because some time ago the people in charge of road building and road design in Goulburn decided to make a change to this traffic light arrangement at this intersection. At one point there was a turning lane. You could turn directly onto the highway, turn left directly onto the highway, and it was decided that that was a safety hazard because of children coming out of the Goulburn North School here and then crossing the road to go down Reynolds Street. So they had to redesign the intersection, and in redesigning the intersection and moving the traffic lights, they spent something close to $1 million. And it's claimed by the locals who live here now that the traffic jams, the traffic queue in the morning when children are being delivered to school and picked up after school, stretches back to the Gordon Hotel. Now, I'm taking a rough guess and saying that's something close to half a kilometre, maybe even a little bit longer. Whether that's still the case or not, or was just the case was people got used to the new arrangement, I don't know, but certainly was presented as a bit of a problem at the time. So to the right and left of us is what's called the Sydney Road. So going left, you would go to Sydney, and to the right, you'd go back towards the centre of Goulburn. When you cross this intersection, you go along what's called Reynolds Street, which is at the back of the St Joseph's Convent and St Joseph's Primary School, and then cross the railway line. But that'll all be in the next clip. I'm stuck here with the traffic lights at the moment, which is why I'm telling you all these things. And we're finally through the traffic lights, and this clip is about to run out, so I'll say thank you very much for watching and talk to you in the next one.